Welcome to Cyber Unit Academy course, Cyber Awareness Essentials. Since businesses require constant communication, one just can't imagine any business without the use of mobile phones and other technological devices. Furthermore, financial activities and banking operations are also being transferred online. Mobile phones have drastically changed our way of communication. However, their purpose is not just limited to communication nowadays. Smartphones collect and compile an increasing amount of sensitive information, to which access must be controlled to protect the privacy of the user and the intellectual property of the company. Therefore, it should not come as a surprise that the focus of cybercriminals and governmental espionage is targeted to mobile devices. The term cryptography comes from the ancient Greek words kryptos, that translates to secret or hidden, and graphein, which means to write. This is a process that converts the text of a message or data into a scrambled message, that changes the original so that the recipient can convert the scrambled message back to the original and read the content. Most forms of cryptography nowadays rely heavily on computers, simply because a human-based code is too easy for a computer to crack. Crypto systems use a set of procedures known as cryptographic algorithms or ciphers to encrypt plain text messages into ciphertext. Modern cryptography consists of 4 points. First one, authorization. Second one, confidentiality. Third one, integrity. And fourth, non-repudiation. So what is symmetric key cryptography? It is a situation when both the sender and receiver share a single key. The sender uses this key to encrypt plain text and send a cipher text to the receiver. On the other side, the receiver applies the same key to decrypt the message and recover the plain text. Symmetric key cryptography was implemented by governments as early as 1990s, where this method was at its height of popularity. Example of such method is Advanced Encryption Standard, is a specification for the encryption of electronic data established by the United States National Institute of Standards and Technology back in 2001. It is also worth mentioning what are the disadvantages of this method of encryption. First, the biggest problem with symmetric key encryption is that you need to have a way to get the key to the party with whom you are sharing data, therefore key exchange problem. Secondly, it was used for a long time by various institutions, which provided time for black hat hackers to crack it in numerous ways. Therefore, it might be considered obsolete. Thirdly, as number of users grows in the key encrypted communication, so is the number of the keys. Remember, the management of secret keys is a headache for security teams inside large organizations. Therefore, again, key distribution problem. Public key encryption uses 2 different keys at the same time, a combination of a private and a public key. Also known as asymmetric encryption, public key cryptography is used as a method of ensuring confidentiality, authenticity, and non-repudiation of electronic communication and data storage. Public key crypto systems are convenient in that they do not require the sender and the receiver to share a private key in order to communicate securely, among other useful properties. And thanks to this and many other aspects, public key encryption truly revolutionized encryption methods and was a serious challenger to symmetric key cryptography. In this image, we can see visualization of a public key encryption, which uses 2 different keys in order to decrypt the message. This study case is about very popular communication app, WhatsApp. WhatsApp is securing transfers of data with the public key encryption. Let's see how it works. The third model of encryption, which we will briefly cover, is field-level encryption. It is the ability to encrypt data in specific data fields, but what is crucial is that it takes place before it is sent to the server. There are many examples of fields that can be encrypted using field-level encryption. Previous study cases showed the encryption method used by WhatsApp, which is publicly available information published online in the white paper. However, now we would like to briefly discuss the same purpose application using a different encryption method, Uscript Messenger. A comprehensive mobile app security strategy includes innovative technological solutions such as mobile app shieldings and others. The trend towards increased use for mobile devices for banking services, shopping and other activities correlates with the rise of mobile devices, apps and users. This enforces software providers to apply the highest level of security possible. But when we use communication apps, they often brand themselves as end-to-end encrypted. But what precisely does this mean? The end-to-end encryption protocol is designed to prevent third parties and the messaging vendor from having plain text access to messages or calls. When encryption keys from users' devices are ever physically compromised, they cannot be used to go back to decrypt previously transmitted messages later on. The quantum revolution is slowly approaching. Here we will discuss how it will innovate the encryption world. Quantum cryptography is different from traditional cryptographic systems, in that it relies more on physics rather than mathematics in the concept behind the security model. Is it truly unhackable? Essentially, quantum cryptography is based on the usage of individual particles, known as photons, and their quantum properties, which create an unbreakable cryptosystem. And why is that? Because it is impossible to measure the quantum state of any system without disturbing that system. And now let us focus on a different example. At this stage, we need to differentiate between post-quantum and quantum cryptography. If we talk about post-quantum cryptography, I refer to cryptographic algorithms, usually public key, that are secure in case of an attack by a quantum computer. These complex mathematical equations take normal computers months or sometimes even years to break. But if we talk about quantum computer and its much bigger computing power, they are able to break math-based systems in a matter of moments.
Imagine two people, Romeo and Juliet. Romeo wants to send a secret love message to Juliet using quantum cryptography so their conflicted families will not find out about their love affair. How is this possible? Romeo sends a series of polarized photons over a fiber optic cable through the Italian town Verona. It is important to mention that the cable is not required to be secured due to the photons having a randomized quantum state. However, we have an unexpected guest. Lord Capulet, who is Juliet's father, who wants to read the message, tries to listen in on one of the conversations. But in order to decode the message, he needs to reach each photon. Then Lord Capulet must pass that photon through the cable onto Juliet, as she is expecting the message from Romeo. By reading the photons, Lord Capulet alters the photon's quantum state, which results in errors in the quantum key. This alerts Juliet and Romeo that someone is listening, and the key has been compromised, so they need to use a different one.
Proxy server acts as a gateway between you and the internet. It is an intermediary server separating end users from the websites they browse. Proxy servers provide varying levels of functionality, security and privacy depending on your use case, needs or company policy. If you are using a proxy server, internet traffic flows through the proxy server on its way to the address you requested. The request then comes back through the same proxy. There are exceptions to these rules. However, then the proxy server forwards the data received from the website to you, so in simplest terms, intermediary between you and the internet. Modern proxy servers do much more than forwarding web requests, all in the name of data security and network performance. Proxy servers can act as a firewall and web filter, provide shared network connections, and cache data to speed up common requests. A good proxy server keeps users and the internet network protected from the bad stuff that lives out in the wild internet. Last but not least, proxy servers can provide a high level of privacy. So now let's see why the people use proxy server. First, employers and parents set up proxy servers to control and monitor how their employees or children use the internet. Most organizations don't want you looking at specific website during your working hours, and they can configure the proxy server to deny access to specific sites. Instead, redirecting you with a nice note asking you to refrain from looking at those sites on the company network and get back to work. Secondly, organizations can also get a better overall network performance with a good functioning proxy server. How? Proxy servers can save a copy of the website locally. So when you ask for a previously browsed website, the proxy server will check to see if it has the most recent copy of it and then send you that saved copy. Thirdly, individuals and organizations use proxy servers to browse the internet more privately. Some proxy servers can change the IP address and other identifying information the web request contains. This means the destination server doesn't know who actually made the original request if it came through the proxy server. It will help to keep your personal information much more private. Fourth, proxy servers provide security benefits on top of the privacy benefits. You can configure your proxy server to encrypt your web requests to keep prying eyes from reading your transactions. You can also prevent known malware sites from any access through the proxy server. Additionally, organizations can integrate their proxy server with virtual private network known as VPN. So remote users always access the internet through a company proxy. A VPN is a direct connection to the company network that companies provide to external or remote users. By using such configuration, the company can control and verify that their users have access to the resources, like email or internal data, they need, while also providing a secure connection for the user to protect the company data. In conclusion, there are two models of encryption popular in the world. First is symmetric key cryptography. Second, asymmetric key cryptography. Each having different advantages and disadvantages, but all are used up to this day. There is also a third model known as hybrid, which is a combination of these two. The power of quantum cryptography will revolutionize the encryption of data. Most probably it will make the apps that we use nowadays or the mechanism that make them secure obsolete. But until this happens, humanity needs to come up with an idea how to make quantum encryption affordable, mostly in terms of resources. Proxy server is one of the most important ways of securing data. Acting as an intermediary between your computer and the internet, it can act as a guardian.